He's going to have plenty to say today. Orlando, who is most to blame for the Cowboys' loss?
The Cowboys are one of the most terrible. They're terribly coached. It's pathetic on coaching. I came up and I said this, and Shannon, you was all over me when I said this at the beginning of the season, but they're atrocious coaching. I'm going to start on the defensive side of the ball because when I have respect for Lamar Jackson has a long way to go as a passer. When he plays Dallas, you see guys running wide open. You see him running wide open. And then it goes back to the nepotism hire of Mike Nolan. Mike Nolan 6 years ago was a coordinator at the Atlanta Falcons. He finished, let me look at my notes, he finished 28th one year, 29th. 6 years later, he's the coordinator, the nepotism hire of the Dallas Cowboys. And I don't even know what we're going to call their ranking horrible. And then it goes to Mike McCarthy. You look at a coach who I respect really well. You look at Bill Belichick. You look at Sean Payton, a guy who I think is one of the best coaches in the National Football League. Sean Payton over the last 2 years is 8-0 without his starting quarterback. McCarthy's last year in Green Bay, 2-5 without Aaron Rodgers. McCarthy this year without Dak Prescott, 1-8, I believe.
So you say it's terrible coaching. So what was the problem? Let me ask you a question. So what was the problem last year? It was Jason Garrett, Rod Marinelli, and Chris Richard. They're gone. Those players are still there.
So always kept a competitive team. This team is not competitive. At this point, you're just looking at it from betting standpoint. Are they going to cover? Are they not? Which team's going to show up? It's no reason that on a 4th and 2, Lamar Jackson should run for a 40-plus yard touchdown.
So that's
also no reason why Lamar Jackson.
Let me get this right now. So you gonna put that on Mike Nolan? That with false keys? They pull 700 pounds of offensive linemen, and he gonna take a running back that's unprotected. So you believe they're gonna hand the ball to a running back on 4th and 2 with no blockers? They pull the backside.
I'm gonna ask you a question. Do you think that they practice these looks during the week?
It look like to me they don't practice anything.
Yes or no?
Thank you.
No? You think they practice these looks during the week? Yes or no? It's a yes or no question.
Yes.
Do you think that Mike Nolan drilled something to put them in position?
Man,
I still don't think Leighton Van Der Esch makes that play if it's him.
All he got to do is just skate right now.
He makes this play.
He's like a blind dog in a meat house. He knows someone has the ball. He just doesn't know who.
What kind of car you drive? That BMW, that nice
yes.
750? You could have drove that thing through there.
But here's the thing. And look at Van Der Esch. Lamar Jackson finna come hug him. Lamar Jackson finna come jump in his arms. He's like, oh, you don't want to be? Okay, well, I'm just going to go and run a touchdown then. And what we showed in the lead-in.
Can we pull up the other clip of the guy running the deep over route?
Yeah, oh, yeah. But here's the thing. I'm going to sum it up in the last 4 minutes of the game. Dallas scores. You know Baltimore Ravens is not going to put the ball in the air. And in 5 plays, they got the ball in the end zone.
But I just watched you on here say, oh, DeMarcus Lawrence he earning his keep. I
didn't say that.
And they made you absolutely did.
Hold on.
DeMarcus Lawrence is turning back into himself. You said that 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, 2 weeks. Hold on. No, we update our resume. You know how this goes. You don't get to say, well, I played good last week, I can take this week off. Bro.
This is my thing. I don't hire coaches and I didn't fire Jason Garrett to regress.
So in other words, so the players get no blame here.
I never said that the players get no blame. I said they're terribly coached. That's why Dan Quinn was fired.
So let me ask you a question.
That's why Greg Williams was fired.
Let me turn it over to Skip. So if they bring in a new coordinator and you don't see any improvement, then what?
But you asked me if questions.
You said they terrible. Hold on. You said they need to get. You said last year they needed a new coach.
We'd all be drunk.
You said last year they need a new coach. They got a whole new staff, and now it's still the coaching.
It wasn't the right staff.
see, there you go again. The players are the same. Coaches change. Right. Go ahead, take it away, Skip.
All right. First of all, I do agree with Orlando. It's not so much nepotism, it's a cronyism hire that Mike McCarthy brought Mike Nolan out of mothballs because he owed him. Because once upon a time, Mike Nolan, as head coach of the 49ers, gave Mike McCarthy his first coordinator job in San Francisco, which led quickly to him getting hired as the head coach in Green Bay.
Correct.
I got to take care of my guy. Well, your guy has not taken care of Cowboy Nation or the Cowboy defense because he's been an unmitigated disaster from start to finish. They have given up 307 yards rushing to Cleveland, 294 last night to the Ravens. It seemed like 494. 261 to Arizona at home, 208 to Washington, and 182 to Washington, your arch rival within the division. And for me, last night looked like one big quit on the part of the Cowboy defense, because Orlando, you played defense at a very high level in this league. What is run stopping about in the end? What's that?
The attitude. You got to have
attitude. Thank you.
And Shannon, you didn't been on teams where you looking and you thinking offensive coordinator called this play in and he know this play not gonna work. It didn't work in practice.
Mm-hmm.
It didn't work against the scout teamers. Why are you calling this?
Yeah.
It's just like,
okay. So last night I saw a defense come out with no fire, no pride, no guts, no heart, no attitude. I don't think he is the coach for this group, because they've rejected him all year. They mutinied against him at mid-year. We had a bunch of anonymous quotes, and all of a sudden Jerry steps up and he cut bait with 8 free agents he had added on the defensive side, because he figured they were all the malcontents leading
he can't fire
the rebellion.
Mid-season.
Yeah.
Can't fire the coach mid-season.
Okay. Well, I think it's about time to fire him now, because he just didn't work. For whatever reason, they have rejected his scheme and his teaching.
Well, it looked like they rejected Mike McCarthy, too, because remember last year, Jason Garrett couldn't get them to come out and play early on. Okay, they still fall behind. With a new coach, a guy that's a made man, Mike McCarthy has a Super Bowl ring. Okay, last year, Rod Marinelli, Chris Richard, they can't get these guys motivated to play. We get a new coaching staff. At some point in time, at the end of the day, players got to accept responsibility also. Yes, it's nice to be put in a scheme, but at some point in time, running ain't about scheme. Running is about, you know what? I refuse to let you get 300. I refuse to let you get 290.
Correct.
I refuse to let you get 280.
I agree.
Absolutely. But Shannon, let me ask you a question.
Yes.
Why is Eric Bieniemy getting mentions to become a head coach? Because he's part of orchestrating a good offense, right?
Yes.
Why is Robert Saleh getting mentions and getting pushed to become a head coach?
Yes.
Because he's running a good defense, right? Why did Dan Quinn become a head coach? Because he ran a good defense.
No.
At some point, the players got to make plays. Don't get it twisted.
So let me ask you a question. You notice how did you notice how Dan Quinn looked when he didn't have Richard Sherman, he didn't have Earl Thomas, he didn't have Bobby Wagner, he didn't have KJ Wright, he didn't have Ben, he didn't have Albert
Cam
Chancellor.
Yep.
You see how he looked? So it was the Dan Quinn of those players.
Did they go to the Super Bowl or not, Skip Bayless?
They did.
Did the Falcons go to the Super Bowl or not?
But hold on.
Memory.
So was it about players?
Say it in a different language. See or no?
I'm asking you a simple
Yes or no?
question. So now it's not about the players. So Sherman's gonna be in the Hall of Fame. Bobby Wagner's gonna be in the Hall of Fame. So you just gonna minimize Earl Thomas, Cam, Sherm, and Bobby Wagner and say it was all Dan Quinn. Okay.
But he came with cachet. He came with built-in respect. When he walked in the door in Atlanta, they're like, we respect.
Yes.
Who's respecting Mike Nolan? Where's he been? What has he done?
What about your offense? So who's respected that offense? Mike McCarthy. He was in Green Bay with Aaron Rodgers, right?
But you know what? Speaking of the offense, last night, Andy Dalton played well enough to win the football game. I thought he played very well considering he's the backup.
He got them little yards at the end of the game.
Little yards?
Yeah, little yards at the end of the game. We ain't kidding.
Orlando, figure this for me. Dallas had 20 passing first downs last night. The Ravens had 2.
We ran the ball.
For most of the game, as you point out, Lamar was having a hard time. He was throwing some mystery missiles to me. They were going right, left, down, above. He was airmailing. But
he hit the ones that was wide open.
He hit 2. He hit 2. And the throw to Hollywood in the corner of the end zone, that was a big-time throw.
Well, I'm going to do you like you did me, Skip. Just imagine if Lamar would have had the ball 5 more minutes, how many yards they would have rushed for.
Okay, but Dallas won the time possession by 5 minutes. How do you do that and lose 34-17? Well, there's only one way. You have to give up 300 rushing yards, right?
Well, you came out on the second down and you threw that interception, so you gave the ball right back to Baltimore after they missed I think they missed a field goal and got the ball right back.
Yep, but it was just in turnovers. It wasn't a big turnover. It's 1-to-1.
Yeah.
And by the way, my 2 undrafted tackles, a rookie and a second-year player, they held up. They did okay.
Yeah.
They gave Andy Dalton enough time to win the game.
Baltimore can't rush the passer.
Okay, well, I'm just saying, at Baltimore, the offense played well enough to win the game. I saw a few flashes from Zeke.
Who y'all play Sunday?
At Cincinnati. I told you, we got to lose it. We got to lose it.
Cincinnati ain't got no pass.
We're on the way to 3-13.
Shannon.
Yes.
Since you love Mike Nolan so much.
No,
Send Elway a nice note, because Vic Fangio on his way up out of there. Send Elway a nice note and recommend Mike Nolan go coach the Denver Broncos.
No,
I agree.
He ain't gonna be no head coach. Those days are over.
Orlando.